a momentary stream of reflections on the current condition of life, written in a time when we suffer from an exhaustion that removes our clarity, drowning us in possibilities that we do not reach for. Forward. I am writing because I am angry. It is not the indignant anger that skates on the surface of the world as it disperses plagues of corrosive bitterness, a victim's disdain or poisonous revenge. Here, such aspects of anger appears as banal and indifferent noise, which cannot serve anything but to steal energy and focus from what we have the potential to see. No, my anger comes from the profound depths of our existence, where it sends its echo with the roars of 1,000 lions, a place that we have forgotten even existed, the place that holds the instinctive force of life itself, which now insists on being heard, roars that tell us to look at our lives, urging us to take both whip and reins and march with the stubborn force of oxen, and smelling the damp mold and moist clay as we turn the soil that we have made into massive concrete. We can no longer cultivate earth based on how we have perceived it and used it in the past. We can no longer solve our problems merely by seeking pastures anew. Enough. It has to be enough. It is not my intention to make use of the self-torturing whip of blame, to sing the praises of hopelessness. On the contrary, blame is just as ignorant as denial. Please understand that we live in a strange time. This is not to underestimate the right of people of other times to have voiced that exact same utterance. And they would have been right to mean that it was as such. But our time is strange, because we have more possibilities than ever before, and yet we have lost faith. We have lost faith in life, in believing that something can be changed for the better, and in creating it and building it, and yes, we do build. With an air of desperation, like little individual islands floating astray and disconnected from what is at stake. Well-founded creations do exist, and work is being done to overcome the vast growing challenges of the world. But these solutions are like small adhesive bandages, repairing something that is wounded more deeply than a temporary covering can repair. Let us call it the static contemporary, this forever dancing condition of disengaged wandering, of swimming in endless streams of information, of creating without anchorage and consuming without pleasure, with an orgiastic approach to the idea of the successful life, while we all thirst for solid ground beneath our feet and the belief that we can actually make a difference. And yet, systems are growing continuously bigger and bigger, an unstoppable machine that echoes with the residue of decadence that took place at the fall of the Roman Empire. The gods, the god and the goddesses have fallen long ago, and they lie silent as witnesses of another time, as statues of human creation, while we clearly cannot live without them, and therefore fill out the spiritual void with ourselves or others. The status of the celebrity is the only thing that we hold on to, and the media make it possible for every human being to publish their life as gossip magazines did 20 years ago. Here, in the constant stream of images and short sentences and desensitized entertainment, we all take part in the play that produces the reality by chanting that everything is okay, that everything is in perfect order because I travel the world and I eat food and good food and I party in beautiful clothes and I kiss my beloved and I am the best parent in the world for the little princes and princesses that are born. Every day, in the endless flow of information, we see the inequality, unworthiness, destruction, hatred, violence, and hopelessness. And yet, we are still able to push this aside with worries of how our new kitchen should look like. We have become indifferent to political lies and scandals because there are so many of them. The election promises of different parties resemble each other, and it has become acceptable to lie because the period in office is too short that no one will find out anyhow, and if they do, well, then another story can be told. The economy has become the only substance that we relate to, and at the same time, we do not wish to see too much of it, for we prefer not to see the economy as fragile as we easily can imagine it to be. Instead, we prefer to look towards the world of advertising, where we can rest assured that the world exists because we can buy it. Here we find a haven from the fact that is amplified each day. We have become too big to the world that is disappearing more and more. The way that we have organized the world so far is no longer viable. Nation-states have become like overgrown babies who suddenly understand that there is no use fighting over the space in the playpen when there is only one baby's bottle and only one toy left. The Cold War ended the game of world domination as the complete destruction of the planet was presented onto the agenda, leaving the still resounding question, what now? It is not difficult to understand why the extinction of nature, global and social inequality, and diseases, and climate deterioration, and the rainforest disappearance, and the eternal lies of the politicians can seem insurmountable. For where are we to look? We cannot look to religion, for we have seen that they too are constructions. We have seen the mass destruction that has taken place in their name. We have seen numerous religions rise and fall, and that they all in the end lead to a fight about who holds the truth. A truth which only creates a greater divide between people. We cannot look to either right or left-oriented political ideologies, for we have seen the massacres in the name of the good service. Information flows over us, and it surrounds us in an overwhelming abundance, and we drown in it. Our world is characterized by anxiety. For who wants to die of a bacterial infection from melons, or to expose oneself to the risk of a virus, terrorism, or destruction? These risks are creating a heavy layer of stress, and we are running around from one health, beauty, and wellness epidemic to the other to protect and to prepare ourselves until we find that this too has fatal consequences. We grant ourselves guarantees that we are happy people by living up to everything that we think the institutions demands of us. and our poor hearts are beating ever faster as we do everything in our power to ensure our lives and to postpone our deaths. A gesture towards life which postpones life itself. For it is hard to be satisfied and to make room for peace and silence. Silence that we are so afraid of, because silence is lonely. In silence, we become our own judge. And here, we might not like what we see. In this place, we must live up to the responsibilities that come with not having an authority outside of us that tell us what we should think and what we should do. Instead, we close our eyes and we solve the world's problems with letters of indulgence. We buy ourselves out of the responsibility towards a more sustainable life. We feel that we can stop consumerism of CO2 by purchasing the right low-energy light bulb, and we think that it is all right to buy a dress for only $30 if we also send a gift aid goat to Africa. I am tired of living in the logic of blurred systems that covers each other's suspicions by building charmingly seductive images that flatteringly say, "It is okay, you're okay, and that dress really suits you." We find ourselves in a spinning hurricane, and we bear the nausea by closing our eyes and imagining that the solution is to do our daily shopping in the right supermarket, while the world is screaming at us that something is fundamentally wrong. And that at all levels, a countdown is taking place. Racism, religious wars, natural catastrophes, and a climate policy that is breaking down. Industrialism has moved local inequality onto a global scale, while economies are crashing one by one, all reminding us that a fall is near. With all our knowledge, with all our experience from history, where are we to look? All has fallen and shown itself from the perspective of deterioration. True love does not exist, it ends in divorce anyways. The current condition of life is that we are skating on the surface of history, of past times. We are skating over them and under them, and we are independent from them. We live in a time of cynicism. We have no belief, we have no trust. We are captives of the last thing that we can hold on to, which are our own ego, which consumes people and materials with a raging and brutal greed that is unstoppable. For if we stop, it will become empty and silent. Stop, breathe in and breathe out. Let there be silence, for it is here that it all will begin. Let begin.